And she said here, I'm in the military establishment. I studied JSC and NDCP. Proudly belong to the AFP Reserve Course. Proudly belong to the AFP Reserve Course, being a full colonel. Please take off your uniform, Senator Legarda. You are not with us. Take off that uniform. Give it back to the AFP. And you said, however, I also would not pass judgment and label perhaps certain organizations whose beliefs may be different from the general majority, but when we look at it, we bear similar objectives, visions, dreams for our people. What is the similarity of the objective, vision, and dreams for our people in killing them, in terrorizing them? Is that our vision? Is that our objective? Is that our dreams? You've terrorized all of us. This ministry included. Since I was an evangelist, I was still very young evangelist. Now I'm 72 years old. But I've seen the atrocities done by this monster called the CPP and PNDF. And you associate with them. He said, I stand here someone who has worked with the so-called left of this country and has admired many of those who share the same vision for our country, who may belong to those who are considered left of center, and there is nothing wrong with that, Mr. President. You said that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know who's this left of center? They are not left of center. They are the extreme left. Left of center. There's no left of center with the CPP and PNDF. The way they conduct their ambushes, killing soldiers, killing police, killing innocent civilians. Where is the center of left? I would like to quote General Esperon, a friend of mine, who was the former NSA Secretary of the Duterte administration. January 7, 2020, Philippine National Agency, she said, and I quote, contrary to the National Democratic Front of the Philippines portrays the Comprehensive Agreement, Social and Economic Reforms, or CASER, as promises, National Security Advisor Moenes Peron Jr. said, it is a piece of document that only serves the interest of the communists. That's how deceiver they are. That is true. If you give these people power, it's a very good thing that our President Duterte was very wise, and he was able to discern the manipulations that they were trying to give to him in making what do you call this? They want to have I will clarify that later on. I forgot the ano. Gusto sila makipag-join sa ating gobyerno. Itong CPP and PNDF. Mabutit very wise ang ating Pangulong Duterte noon. Kasi merong mga komunista riyan sa loob, pinapapasok nila, pinapipirma nila sa ating Pangulo. Na kung tingnan mo, aba, sharing of power with the government. Mabuti na discern ng ating Pangulo. Hindi niya pinirmahan. Sharing of power with the government, with these snakes. We did not vote for you, Joe Masison, nor you communists. We don't like you. Get out. Sabi ni General Esperon, at first glance, this may appear to be promises, as it promises to benefit the majority, if not all, But if we look at it closely, the duplicitous character and self-interest of the communist terrorist groups, CTG, becomes evident as the provisions do not directly reflect the best interest of the nation, but their own, as Peron said, who is also chairperson of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or the NTF-LCAC. Contrary to NDFP's claim that their CASER contains concrete and doable steps toward liberating the Filipino people from poverty, exploitation, and underdevelopment. As Peron said, dismantling the current economic model means reversing all economic reforms in the past several decades, implemented through laws passed by previous administrations. Such move would be an arduous, costly, and expensive process. And we will find ourselves worse off economically if it lets the advantage of this current system and then be ostracized by the international community economically. Ganyan ang kanilang tong kaser-kaser nilang ito. Kayo man ang pinapabura ng kaser-kaser ninyong yan eh. Makita ko kayo, ikakaser ko kayo riyan eh. And as Peron said, conceding to their kaser version will not only be an act of admission of their communist terrorist group accusations, but an act of disregard to the efforts of our leaders and lawmakers in addressing present societal issues. Buot mo, wala mo giboto sa katauhan. Itong mga komunistang ito, hindi naman natin binoto, tapos gumagawa silang sariling paraan para makapasok sa atin. I told you, you godless ideology, get out of this country. And he said here, he lamented that the government had many attempts to end the conflict with the communists since 1986, with more than 40 rounds of peace talks conducted with the same people as negotiators. But for the longest time, the peace talks were only used as period to rest when badly beaten, seek reinforcements, and initiate recruitment, engaging in another round of peace talks after all these years and all our efforts without significant changes is therefore pointless. Tama talaga si General Peron dito. The government has the capacity to fulfill its obligation for social justice and development. Who needs the CPP and PNDF? No one needs you. You are just using the peace talks. Biro mo, 40 peace talks from 1986. Why there is no peace? Because they don't want peace. They are only resting if they are badly beaten. They use that to rest. They use that to recruit. They use that. Di ba nyo nababasa yan kayong taga-gobyerno? Kung sino man yung mga hindi pa nakaka-discern sa kanilang gusto. Ngayon, you are again initiating a proposal to send to our President BBM na magpadala ng envoy. Legitimizing that snake there. Kayong mga opisyal, kung pupunta kayo ng Netherlands, don't ever visit that snake. You are legitimizing him. He's an illegitimate, wanting to topple down this democratically elected government. We are enjoying our freedom here. We don't need you. Well, the chief legal advisor and alter ego of the president has spoken. In his weekly program aired at SMNI News today, former Senator Juan Ponce Enrile lambasted his former colleague in the Senate, Senator Legarda, on her recent remarks showing her support and sympathy to the Communist Party of the Philippines, or CPP. Sabi niya, and I quote, "Pasensya ka na, Loren. Sa palagay ko ay hindi mo naiintindihan ang doktrina ng Marxism na itinuro ni Lenin. Alam mo, ang National Democratic Front ay parang tali sa leeg yan na gagamitin ni Joe Masison para ipambitay sa taong bayan. Napakaliwanag. Salamat." Salamat, Manong Enrile. Kaya hanggang ngayon, buhay ka pa. Sapagkat kailangan ka pa ng ating bayan para magpaliwanag. Tulad nito, hindi niya alam, senadora siya. Ang sabi mo, sabi ni Enrile, nagpatuloy, ang sabi mo ay left of center ka. Saan bang center? It's either you support liberal democracy or talian mo ang liig ng mga Pilipino. Where do you stand for? Your being a colonel does not excuse you, he added. With all due respect, Manong Johnny, perhaps it will be prudent on your part to take this matter personally with the President and advise President Bongbong Marcos in his capacity as Commander-in-Chief of the AFP to order the immediate removal of Senator Loren Legarda from the role of officers of the Philippine Air Force Reserve Corps. With regards to her position as the new Senate President pro tempore, perhaps President Bongbong Marcos can whisper good counsel to his former peers and present allies in the Senate to file a complaint against Senator Legarda before the Ethics Committee and possibly expel her from the upper chamber. She poses a clear and present danger to our national security and an utter disgrace to our country. A good friend also, Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito J. Galvez Jr., former Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, said, "We do not need kaser. The Filipino people have no need of the proposed comprehensive agrarian on social economic reforms or kaser, whose passage is being aggressively pushed by the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, and National Democratic Front of the Philippines," according to Presidential Peace Advisor Carlito J. Galvez Jr. He said, "Kaser is based on an obsolete framework and is no longer relevant since it is largely based on the pre-industrialization and pre-globalization era. It is a formula for the surrender of the national government's integrity as well as the state's sovereignty," Galvez said. True. Yan ang mga maka-Pilipino. Itong mga taong itong makagobyerno. Tayong lahat kasama natin sila. Kaya kayong mga infiltrators na nakapasok sa ating pamahalaan because of your deception, mahiya kayo. Mahiya kayo, magtago na kayo. Kailangan sa susunod, mga kababayan ko, bago tayo bumoto ng sino mang nagpapaboto sa atin, suriin muna nating mabuti kung ano ang tayo nila sa kanilang buhay. Kung sila ba ay kampi sa CPP and PNDF, o sila ba may kaugnayan, o sila ba may mga kamag-anak, o sila ba ang simpatya nila nandoon, o sila ba ay mga fence-sitter, huwag nating iboto yan. He also described the kaser as an irrelevant proposition and simply a copycat of the programs of the CPP, NP, NDF as outlined in the plagiarized content of Jose Maria Sison's publication, Philippine Society and Revolution. The kaser insists that the Philippine government surrender its sovereignty and trample on its own integrity by forcing upon the state outmoded and erroneous concepts that were conceived more than half a century ago, Galvez said. Totoo. Pag ito'y naprubahan, magiging parehas tayo ng Cultural Revolution ng China. O kaya maging Pol Pot tayo ng Cambodia. Look at Pol Pot. This is like kaser. The way Pol Pot destroyed Cambodia, the killing fields, you know that movie? He took all the people, the professionals, the religious, lined them up the wall and shot them all. And then the city dwellers, he got them all and then put them in the rural farms. And then the rural people, he put in the city. That is what they'll do. Religious people, professionals, businessmen, they will all line up the wall and they will all be killed by their democratic revolution. They have what they call democratic revolution. After this, they will have the socialist revolution. In socialist revolution, it will be more bloody. Lahat ng hindi aayon sa kanila, papatayin nilang lahat yan. Mabuti na lang, Joe Masison, hindi ka nanalo sa kawalang hiyaan ng revolusyon mo. Kasi kung nanalo ka, ako ang makakarap mo. Isang halimbawa lang. Halimbawa, nanalo itong mga ahas na to noong panahon ng 1980s na mamayagpag sila dito. They have 25,000 na mga sundalo. Halimbawa, natalo ang ating Armed Forces of the Philippines. Pagkatapos, natalo na sila na ang maghahari dito. Mabuti hindi nangyari yun eh. Kasi kung nangyari yun, I will declare a new revolution. I will head a new revolution against the CPP and PNDF. Na kung maghari kayo dito, ako magiging tinik ninyo. I will gather all of my people and will bear arms against you. Kung nanalo kayo. Mabuti hindi ka nanalo eh. Kung nanalo ka, hindi ka magtatagal. Ako mismo ang pupunta sa iyo. Oh, mabuti. Magpasalamat kayo hindi kayo nanalo. Nanalo kayo, nako. We will not let this country fall into the hands of these godless people. We will be here. So we thank God for like Manong Enrile. We thank God for like people like Senator Tolentino, Senator Bato. We thank people like Rigoberto Tiglao, a former communist. We thank people like them. And we thank people like General Esperon. We thank people like Dr. Lorraine Badoy, Brother Eric, and all the military men who are with us in this crusade against this salot ng bayan. Ito, kaser, socio-economic reforms daw for peace. Pero deception ito. Pag ito naaprobahan, tingnan ninyo ang mangyayari sa atin dito. Mabuti lang hindi nanalo. Sir, ito sa inyo. Hirap namang gamitin ito. Ito yung kaser nyo. We are contented with the present system here in the Philippines today. Kala nyo, bago bumaba ang Pangulong Duterte, naisahan niya kayo eh. Tingnan ninyo yung land reform ninyo. Yung land reform ninyo, inunahan niya kayo. How many thousands and thousands of hectares ipinamigay niya according to the law. Pero walang nadihado. Walang nadihadong mga tao. Walang nadihadong mga may-ari ng lupa. Because it's according to the law. Eh ito sa pilitan. Pag hindi ka pumayag, papatayin ka ng mga ahas na to eh. Kaya, please lang, huwag na kayong magpakita sa Pilipinas. At kayong nasa gobyerno, napatago-tago, pagkatapos mga NPA kayo, mga NPA lover kayo, CPP, NPA lover kayo, kung diyan sa PTB4 may mga CPP, NPA lover, mahiya kayo, government broadcast station yan. Kailangan kayo ang number one nagdedepende sa gobyerno. Kung totoo man. Biro mo, nakuha naming balita, before siya tumayo doon si Legarda sa Senate floor, nag-briefing siya diyan sa PTB4. Kung totoo itong nasagap naming balita, totoo ba yan? Kayong taga TV4, halaman ninyo. Sumagot kayo, kasi taga-gobyerno yan eh. Walang dapat na gumaganyan sa ating pamahalaan. Ginagamit ang pasilidad ng gobyerno pagkatapos komunistang nasa loob. Pati itong balita na mayroong mga taga-gobyerno, hihimukin daw nila si PBB, magpadala ng envoy doon sa para ipatuloy ang pistok. Pistok. Walang katuturan ang pistok ninyong yan. Because the main aim of the CPP, NPA, NDF, in short statement, hindi makokontento yan hanggang hindi nila matapol down ang ating democratically elected government at sila ang tumayo at sila ang mamuno sa atin. That is the long and short of it. That is the short and long of it. Just look at the end game of this communist. Wala na yung itong mga kaser na yan. Wala yan. Paraan lang nila yan. Pero isa lang ang aim niyan. Anumang paraan. By hook or by crook. By soft or by hard. Ang kanilang aim is topple down. Si Joma ang mamumuno at itong mga kasabwat niya nasa gobyerno, itong mga infiltrators na to, tatayo na yan. Yung mga kagat na yan, yung mga nasa kongreso na yan, naku, malalaki ang posisyon yan, papatayin tayong lahat yan. Pag yan ay nanalo dito, salamat na lang at November 1, 2021, merong kapahayagan dito sa bansang kaharian na bumagsak ang ulo ng masama. Spiritual ito at saka physical Sa spiritual nangyayari. Kung anong nangyayari sa physical, ang demonyo, alam niya merong plano nga sa bansang Pilipinas Kaya pilit niyang inaagaw ito Biro mo tayong we have the longest running insurgency of the communist in the world because Satan doesn't want to give us off, doesn't want to let us off because he wants this country. But he will not win.